Okay. We left off over here. Moret said, Rabbi Yochanan had said that, according to Rabbi Meir, we have the Mishnah is according to Rabbi Meir, a person is Mekadosh behegdish, right? The Mezid Mekudeshes, B'shogig ein Mekudeshes, correct? That's what Rabbi Meir said. Person takes something that was consecrated, and he says to, and he's aware it's consecrated. He says to a woman, and she's aware, Harei Mekudeshes li. With this object of hegdish, she's Mekudeshes. Why? Because Rabbi Meir is of the opinion that when you deliberately take something from hegdish, it's yotzel l'chulin. The conversion process takes place, right? We don't rule like Rabbi. We rule like Rabbi Yehuda, only if you do it inadvertently. If you inadvertently take something from hegdish, believing it's yours, then if you use it as yours, that creates the conversion from hegdish to chulin. Rabbi Meir says no, mazid. What about shogeg? So shogeg, Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Meir says the reason why it doesn't affect it is because it's the equivalent of a mekachtos. Because if the person would have known that it was that it was hegdish, he wouldn't have want. The purchaser wouldn't want to use it, and the seller wouldn't want to take that kind of money. Therefore, so what's the case of shogeg by me'ilah? Only one case, where you eat something. When you eat it, since you're benefiting, that's the case of me'ilah. Person inadvertently eats something, and it's a shaveh pruta. The benefit is a shaveh pruta, correct? So then the Torah says you have to bring a korban, you have to pay principal plus a fifth. But in terms of act of acquisition, when you're taking it out of the domain means there has to be an intent. If I would have known, I wouldn't want to take it out of the domain of hegdish. Therefore, the act is not considered an act, right? That was Rabbi Meir. Person consecrates a piece of food. You consecrate a loaf of bread. Okay, so it's hegdish's asset. You think it's your own, now you eat that loaf of bread. So you have benefit from it. When you take it in your hand, although that's believing it's yours or giving it to a third party, if I would have known it's hegdish, would I want to give it to a third party? According to Rabbi Meir, I wouldn't have wanted to give it to a third party. So it's equivalent of like a mekachtos. So therefore my act is not called an act of transfer, therefore it remains hegdish. But what about if you eat the loaf of bread? Did you benefit from the bread? So if that's the case, you have to pay. Right? You benefited, you have to pay principal, a fifth, and you bring a korban. Because factually you benefited from hegdish, a shaveh pruta. No. If you destroy hegdish, there's no liability. It's because you benefited from hegdish. That's how you took it into your domain. Physically taking your domain means nothing. Because as Tosa says, the Gemara says there's an expression, wherever it is, it's in God's domain. Right? Let's say I consecrate a table, a chair, and now I pick up the chair where I have no intent to take it. Even though I'm carrying the chair, in whose domain is that chair? It's in God's domain. But if I want to take it out of that domain, right? So Rameh says you want to take it out deliberately. Torah says if you want to take it out, your act transfers it out of the domain. That's called milah. But inadvertently, I wasn't aware. I thought it was my item. If I would have known what if I wanted to transfer it out, I wouldn't have wanted to transfer it out.
So in the case when he eats the challah, the bread, the shogeg, why is that different than the tradition?
No, it's different. When you give, when I take, no. When I take the object, what's the cause of marriage? Her acquisition of the item. If I would have known, let me ask a question. I take somebody else's object, believe it, thinking it's mine, and I marry a woman. It's not a marriage. Why isn't it a marriage? Because you gave her something that's not yours. So if, let's say I take Hegdish's item, not aware of it. If I would have known, I wouldn't want to transfer this item to her. She takes the ring. That means the ring never became hers. Because I never intended to give her that ring. I mistakenly gave her the wrong ring.
But I would not have wanted her to give it.
Right, so that means she never acquired it. So if she never acquired it, she's not married. What? They're both aware. Mazed. He's mazed and she's mazed. You've eaten. No, not marriage. No, you take mistakenly and you eat it and you doesn't make a difference. But did you benefit? You could be more than one of two ways: either taking it out of the domain or benefiting.
So you're saying that the marriage
It's not a marriage. What benefit did you have? You've eaten. You're actually eating it, right? Eat it. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So that was Rabbi Yochanan's understanding of Rabbi Meir. So the only case of shogeg you're able to have of milah is where you eat it, because that's benefiting. But in terms of acquisition, that's only what's deliberate, where he's aware, she's aware, and you take Hegdish as object and give it to her in marriage. It's not penalty. It's principle, a fifth, korban. Right. We rule b'mezid, it doesn't affect it. Okay? Now, so boimini Rav Chia, but barovim Rav Chia b'mechamai, because Rav Meir only states this case by kiddushin. What would be if it would be a case of acquisition to purchase something? Inadvertently, he says, omalei af mecher lo kono. Same thing. Because he said maybe marriage. A woman says, what, do I want to be married with something which is illegal? That's not the way you get married. You know, I want to have bracha. This is not going to bring bracha to our marriage. But maybe an acquisition, the person wouldn't mind. So he says not for mecher. If the person would know, he wouldn't want this. Okay, wait. We're talking about Reb Meir now. We'll get to Reb Yehuda. Okay? Eisvei. So Rav Chisda said it's even a mecher. So now it's interesting. Now, before we speak about, there's a Mishnah in Me'ilah, if a person gives his item to somebody for safekeeping, shomer has no right to use the item, right? If you use it, it's called shlichas yad. You're a thief. A shomer uses the item that's given to him for safekeeping, unless he's a shomer, unless he's a borrower, right? So there's discussion, what happens if a person gives money which is not in a tied purse? The purse is not tied close. And you give it to a banker called a shulchani. So the presumption is if you gave it to a banker and it's not tied shut, that means your intent is when you're giving it to the banker, he has a right to use it. You didn't say, there was no communication why you can use it, can you not. If he's a banker, he's permitted to use the money. If he's a balabayas, he's an ordinary person, right? I never intended, because my intent was, the person involved with money, currencies. Therefore, when I gave it to you, I never intended that you should use it. Therefore, it's just what? For safekeeping. Therefore, if he would use it, he's called shalech yad. He's considered a thief, right? Now there's a question, what about a chenvoni? The person's a storekeeper. Storekeeper has inventory, right? But so the inventory he needs cash, but he buys on credit, right? So how do we classify if a person gives money in a purse that's not tied close to a chenvoni, to a storekeeper? Do we see the storekeeper like the banker, or do we see him like the balabayus? There are times he needs cash, but he's not involved in currency the way a banker's involved. So that's machlokes Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda. It's machlokes Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda in Milah. If the what? So what would be? Now we said earlier that we say regarding Milah yeshlich devar avera. If let's say I consecrated money, and I say to somebody, go take that bag of money and purchase for me a garment, right? And I instruct him to take a particular bag of money. And he takes, I as the one who directed him, I made a mistake. I told him to take bag A rather than B, and I instructed him to take the bag that was hegdish, was consecrated. And now he purchases the what? The garment. So what happens when he purchases it? The conversion takes place. Because he was motzi, he's the one who transferred out of hegdish by purchasing the garment. B'shogeg. We're going the way we rule. B'shogeg. He's unaware. Now, the act, so who was moel? Was the shliach moel, or the one who sent the agent was moel? So it's based on principle yeshlich devar avera. The one who sent him is the one who's moel. The act of the shliach is attributed to the one who instructed him to take that bag of money. Right? So now the question is, when you give the bag of money untied, you give it to a chenvoni, to a storekeeper, mistakenly. He had taken the bag of money thinking it's his own, and he gives it to a storekeeper. Now, and the storekeeper now goes and buys inventory with it. So the storekeeper believes that what? That he has a right to, now, if you hold the storekeeper like a banker, so that means when he gave the one who gave him the bag of money, he gave it to him that he has a right to use it. So who was Motzi? Who's the one who transferred out of Hegdish? The one who gave him the bag of money. What? The giver. No, not what it was shliach. The giver, right? But if you're of the opinion that the chenvoni is like the balabayas, right? And the chenvoni now uses the money, right? He wasn't permitted to use it. So when he took it, what did he do? He took it. He's the one who took it out of the domain of Hegdish. The giver didn't give it to him to take it out of its original domain. I only gave it to you for safekeeping. So when he took it to use to buy inventory, right? He took it for himself. He's doing an act of what? Of conversion. He's taking it out of the domain of Hegdish, and therefore it's chulin. Wait. But we're going to see Rameir says, the machlok says only who's moel. Is the giver moel or the chenvoni moel? But even Rameir agrees here that in a state of shogeg, in a context of shogeg, the chenvoni is moel. So if that's the Gemara says, so we see from the Mishnah and Me'ilah that even Rameir is in agreement that you have a case of Me'ilah outside the case of eating something. Okay, let's read it. Eisvei, chenvoni kabalabayis div Rameir. Rameir is of the opinion that chenvoni, the storekeeper, is the equivalent of a balabayis. That means he's not permitted to use the money. Okay? Reb Yehuda Omeno, chenvoni k'shulchani. The chenvoni is like the shulchani, is like the banker. He has a right to use the money. So in each case, the question is who's moel? So according to Reb Meir, who's moel? Who's moel? The chenvoni is moel. Because since the chenvoni had no right to give it, the chenvoni had no right to use it because when it was given, it wasn't given to him to be used. So when the chenvoni takes it to buy inventory, right? No, that has nothing to do with shliach, right? So therefore, he's the one who took it out of the domain of Hegdish, although he's unaware that it's Hegdish. So he says the chenvoni is moel. Rabbi Yehuda says no, chenvoni shulchani. He's like the banker. So when he gave it to the chenvoni, he gave it to him. So who took it out of the domain of Hegdish? The giver. So ad kan lo pli kom iflgi elo de marsov chenvoni shulchani marsov chenvoni kabalabayis. They're only arguing what is the status of the storekeeper. Is he like a banker, or is he the equivalent of an ordinary housekeeper, resident? Avul kuli alma im hotzi mol. But everybody agrees if the money is spent. Even Rameir agrees that what? That the chenvoni is moel. But how? Rameir says if he would have known, he wouldn't have used it. So it's like a mektos. So we find a case, even where you don't eat it to benefit, Rameir's of the opinion, b'shogeg yemoel. So this refutes Rabbi Yochanan. Alec, you with us? No. Alec's an expert in the first parak in kiddushin, not the second parak. Okay? Nafi, you with us? Okay. Same boat. Same sinking boat. Okay. I'm not asking Howard. Okay. Okay. Let's just repeat it again. Very simple. Forget about the shliach. The Torah says that if I take something, the way we rule halacha, inadvertently, I take money, believing it's my money, I go purchase something. It's Hegdish's money. Right? Now, who transferred it out of the domain of Hegdish? The purchaser. Right? So who has to pay principal, a fifth, and a korban? The one who purchased the item. Okay? Simple. Rabbi Yochanan's understanding of Rameir is, in that case, where the purchaser mistakenly uses Hegdish's money, you're not moel. Why? Because if he would have known that the money was Hegdish, he wouldn't have wanted to use that money. It's equivalent of mekach tos. Let's say I take money, and I go to a person and say, I want to buy gold. And he sells me gold plate. And I give him the money. So is it a valid sale? It's an illegal sale. Right? It's deception. So the money the person has, the one who fooled the buyer, is it his money or is it the buyer's money? There was never a transfer because he never sold him the gold. Correct? That's called a mekach tos. Same thing. Rameir says if a person would know that the money he's using was Hegdish's money, he would have never want to use it. So if that's the case, the money that's in the possession of the seller, whose money is? He never wanted to transfer that money. So it's still Hegdish's money. Because if he would have known, he wouldn't want to transfer it out of the domain of Hegdish. That's Rabbi Yochanan's understanding of Reb Meir. So there's no case of shogeg where you moil. Only one case if you eat something. If you eat something that's consecrated, it's factually you benefited. Factually, you benefit a Shaveh Pruta from Hegdish. One has to pay principal, a fifth, and you have to bring a korban. Right? That's this basic. Now we have a new question. A person has a bag of money. Mistakenly, he takes the money that he consecrated, and he gives it to a person to watch for him. But he doesn't say. He gives the bag, open, untied bag of money to a storekeeper. That's clear. He gives it to a banker. So when he gave it to the banker, what is the understanding of that transfer? The banker could use it. So who transferred it out of the domain of Hegdish? The giver. Therefore, who has to bring the korban? The giver. What about if he gives it to an ordinary person? That means the ordinary person has no right to use it. And now the ordinary person mistakenly uses that money. So the ordinary person is the moel. Because the giver never gave it to him to use. He never intended to transfer it out. It was only given for safekeeping. Mistakenly, the ordinary person now uses it to purchase something. So he's the one who's moel. Because the giver never gave it to him to use.
Did the giver specify that it was Hegdish?
No, it's understood. He didn't know. He was unaware. He thought it was his own money. He thought he was giving the ordinary person a bag of his own money. But did he intend that he should use it? Never intended he should use it. Right? So what did I do? It's purely there for safekeeping. It's like putting it in a safe deposit box. That's all it is. Right? Now, the one who receives it mistakenly uses that money, believing it's his. So who's moel? That person. Right? Good. That's clear. That's black and white. Now we have a gray case. He's not an ordinary person. He's not a banker. He's a storekeeper. So now a person gives a bag of untied money to a storekeeper. Is the storekeeper like the banker, or is the storekeeper like an ordinary resident? If he's like a banker, the giver is moel. If he's like an ordinary resident, the storekeeper uses it mistakenly, he's moel. There's Nog to Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda. What exactly is the storekeeper? Is he a banker or an ordinary person? Reb Meir says the storekeeper is like an ordinary person. Therefore, the giver is not moel, but when the storekeeper uses it, he is moel. But we just finished saying, if the storekeeper, b'shogeg, according to Reb Meir, there's no relevance to Mila. Right? So let's say the storekeeper now takes and buys inventory with the bag of money that was given to him, believing it's his money. Mistakenly, he did it. Reb Meir says the storekeeper is moel. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, in every state of shogeg, he says it's not possible. Because if the person would have known, he wouldn't have wanted to expend that money. So, but it says explicitly, Reb Meir says that the storekeeper is moel. So this refutes Rabbi Yochanan.
Why can't you compare that to the bread? It's getting a benefit.
No, he's not getting a benefit.
The money.
It's like the question asked by marriage. The sale's not a sale. The benefit's only if the inventory becomes mine. But here the inventory never became yours. Because if I would have known, I wouldn't have wanted to transfer the money to purchase that inventory. Right? When you eat, factually you're benefiting. It's like you asked me, we're marrying the woman. If the marriage is not a marriage, you didn't benefit from the money.
About the bread, because if he would have known, didn't know when he ate the bread that it was Hegdish, and he ate the bread, he would never have eaten that bread if it were not Hegdish.
But the Torah says, but if you benefit from Hegdish, you moel. Did you benefit from Hegdish? You benefited.
Yeah, but if he acquired,
No, but you never acquired it.
if he went and bought something with that money to his vendor. He went to his vendor and said, listen, I want to buy X amount with this money, and the vendor sends the product, he has it in the store. What
Right.
status does that product have?
It belongs to the vendor. It does not belong to the storekeeper. I give you another good. The storekeeper goes and takes money which was stolen money, not his money, and gives it to the vendor. Now what's the halach? The inventory, is it the vendor's or is it the storekeeper's? To purchase, you have to pay. Right? So it's a cash deal. Unless you paid, the inventory is not yours. It's the vendor's inventory. Correct? So here, the storekeeper uses Hegdish's money. If he would have known, he wouldn't have wanted to give that money. So that means the money the vendor has, whose money does he have? He has Hegdish's money. So if that's the case. But yet Rameir says that the ordinary, the resident, he's in violation. Because he says that the Chenvoni is the equivalent of regular residents. If he spends it, he's moel. Correct. Okay? So the Gemara says, Avot kuli alma im hotzi moal, but everybody agrees ultimately if that money is spent, somebody's moel. It's either the one who gave it to the storekeeper or the storekeeper. So this refutes Rabbi Yochanan, because Rabbi Yochanan says there's no case, according to the mayor, except for the case where you eat, we have direct benefit, that you're going to be moel. And that's more answers. Rabbi Yochanan. Rameir with the word to Rabbi Yehuda Kamar. Rameir is saying, speaking to according to the position of Rabbi Yehuda, Lididi, according to my position, im hotzi nami lo moel. Even if the storekeeper buys inventory with it, he's not moel. Why? Because we say that if he would have known, he wouldn't have. It's like a mekachtos. El doch, but according to your position at Bishogeg, you are moel. Odeli mio de chenvoni kabalabayis. But you should admit to me that the storekeeper is not like the banker. He's like the balabais. If that's the case, who should be moel? The storekeeper, and not the one who gave it to the storekeeper. Amar lay. So Rabbi Yehuda says to Reb Meir, lo, I disagree. Kishulchani. So therefore, since he's like a banker, so the person who gave it to the storekeeper, he's the one who's moel. But that the Reb Meir stated the position wasn't according to his position. According to Rabbi Yehuda's position, he said, I disagree with you according to your understanding. According to my understanding, the whole discussion never began. Nobody's moel. Okay? That's Rabbi Yochanan. No, so if it's not a refutation. The Mishnah and me. No, it's not relevant. It's not relevant. It's not relevant. It's a side point. It's a side point. According to your understanding, you're wrong. I disagree with the whole discussion never begins. Because Meshogeg, even according to you, it's incorrect. He says, no, we disagree with you. I disagree with you. Omer Rav. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, the only case according to the mayor of Moel is where it's mazid, where he's aware that he's using Hegdish's object. The man is aware and the woman is aware. But at Shogeg, it's nothing. Okay? Or purchasing, even by Mecher. Omar Rav. Chotzarnu al stodim shel Rameir. He says, he researched every position, the statement of Rameir regarding Milo. Lo matzinu hegdish b'shogeg. Ein mischaleo. B'mezid mischaleo. Yeah? He says he's researched all Shas, all the Mishnayos. Rameir never differentiates between shogeg and mezid. Rameir's chiddush is that even if one deliberately wants to use something that's consecrated, the conversion takes place. Right? That's Rameir. The Chachamim argue. Rabbi Yehuda argues. Chacham argue. But he says, I researched. We never find there's a difference between whether you do it b'mezid or b'shogeg. Rameir's of the opinion, you're moel. B'shogeg too. You never find such a differentiation. So the question is, what forced Rabbi Yochanan to learn the way he learned? Because we have a Mishnah. Rabbi Mishnah says, persons the Kaddish woman with Hegdish, b'mezid, b'kudeshes, b'shogeg, b'kudeshes. But if you're saying Mila takes place even b'shogeg, so what does Rabbi Yehuda, what does Rameir differentiate between mezid and shogeg? Right? That's where it all began. Right? Rav says there's no other way to understand it. He says, I researched all the Mishnayos and Shas. There is no, we don't find Rameir differentiates between shogeg and mezid regarding Mila. So how will we learn our Mishnah? We'll see. Ein mischal b'mezid, mischalel. So how do we understand our Mishnah? Our Mishnah says only when it gives it deliberate. That's when she's mukadeshes, b'shogeg ain't mukadeshes. Here, the kosno skuna, shlobolu. We're speaking the vestments of a Kohen. Now, what exactly is the status of what we call big dekuna? The vestments of a Kohen. Ordinary Kohen, he has 4 vestments. What does he go? He goes to some kind of, uniform shop, gets it made up, and then he comes to the base and starts officiating. The garments themselves are consecrated. So now we have a question. How is he permitted to wear garments that are consecrated? So within the context of avodah, that's not called he's personally benefited. That's the way he officiates, right? But let's say it takes him from the time he puts on the garments until he starts officiating. He could begin officiating in 2 minutes, and he tarries, and it takes him an additional 3 minutes. That means you're benefiting from the big day kuna. 3 minutes worth of benefit, which is by wearing it. So what? Clothing. It's warming your body. There's benefit, physical benefit. No, let's say it gives you a degree of warmth. Gives you a degree of warmth. Until you're naked, right? You're ashamed. You're not going to want to be naked, right? Warmth, whatever it is. There's some degree of physical benefit. So why aren't you moel? Unless every moment you wear it is a necessity, anything in addition to that, you're benefiting a benefit that you're not permitted to benefit. Yet the law is Kohen is not moel. So we just had a Kohen came there. Right? He's not in violation of benefiting from something. We'll discuss it. We'll discuss it. We'll see. No, he's not moel. Still not. I'm not talking about Klein. I'm talking about Klein. I'm talking about Me'ilah. I mean, if you say you have to wear the garments to officiate, you can tell me you're benefiting. That's the uniform the Kohen has to wear. But let's say he puts it on slightly before and doesn't remove it immediately after he finishes officiating. That means, so why are you wearing it? That's for your own purpose, for your own benefit. You should be moel. So why aren't you moel? So there's a Gemara in Yuma also. The answer is, Lo nidna Torah malchei ashoris. Right? People are not angels. The Torah wasn't given to angels. A human being is a human being. So we understand there's a certain degree of leeway. There's time before, afterwards. A man doesn't take it off the second he finishes officiating. Therefore, because the Torah wasn't given to angels, therefore, the Torah allows this extra time. And the Torah doesn't fault you for having personal benefit in this particular context. Something that you have no relevance to, you want to take something that's consecrated. You want to benefit. What relevance do you have to it? You're not permitted to benefit. But here, wearing the garment, you are benefiting. You're permitted to benefit within the context of officiating. But if my what is on a thread? Because if I should slightly be off, no, it's not. That's not the way you deal with a human being. We're human beings. We're not angels. Therefore, the Torah allows you, even beyond that point, to wear it. It doesn't fault you. No, not even to a degree. Even if you overstep it. You overstep it. If it's done inadvertently. We're talking inadvertent. If the delay is inadvertent. Deliberate? No. Deliberate, you're on violence. Right? Then you would be. So we'll see. 1 second. Let's read facts. Right? Before you ask me about the Kohen Gadol. Right? Because meaning it's not they became worn out where they're actually rags. The Kohen is permitted, the Torah allows the Kohen to benefit from it. Because Torah was not given to angels. Go ahead. Okay, we'll discuss it. Okay? Let's read Rashi. The kosnis kuna shlabolu. Okay? We're talking about the shirt of the Kohen, which hasn't been worn out, meaning it's still, it's functionable. Ruin lavoda. V'chol zman shurin lavoda emila b'shigoson. Right? If you inadvertently benefit, you're not going to be oil. Because initially, when they were consecrated, lehonuspem, shogin, that in it, you're not held liable if you benefit. Rachli is kabel chalon. But if your intention is to take it away from hegdish, like deliberately you want to wear it, then that causes the transfer. That's a conversion. Reason kamalochim, they should do things with such zeal like angels, lafshitun bigmar avoda, to remove it immediately when the surface is finished. Not to delay more than a blink of an eye. It's an impossibility. So initially, when it was consecrated, it wasn't consecrated if you're going to benefit in a state of shogeg. So it comes out with the Gemara. What he's saying is this. So let's say a person would take the garments. I'm talking, dressing with Alakast, and I give it to the woman, Harei Mukadeshesli. But that's not what they said. In terms of taking it off immediately, right, or putting it on slightly before, right, we're not angels. But to take it and marry a woman with it, inadvertently, you should be moel. Right? No. So that, he says, in the context of shogeg, the law of Me'ilah has no relevance. Chazal, when they consecrate it, is if the benefit is inadvertent, that doesn't cause the transfer. Because the context of Big Day Kuna is shogeg has no relevance to Me'ilah. So it's irrelevant what the shogeg is. Whether I believed it was mine or the Kohen hesitated to a greater degree than he should have, but it wasn't deliberate. No, because it was initially was consecrated, and in that context, that's not called taking it out of the domain of Hegdish. So therefore, it's still Hegdish. So therefore, she's not married. That's why she's not married. But it's based on the same principle. To be continued.
Rag.